What's going on, everybody? So today we're going to talk about groups, sends, and return tracks and why you're going to need to start using them in Ableton. So let's jump right into this. So group tracks are when you have more than one track in a group. So you can see here, I have my lead here, which is my group of all my different instruments. So I have my guitar, my piano, and my flute. So I can solo just my group here, and I can hear them without having to solo each one individually. Also, if I wanted to put some effects on all of them, let's say I wanted to put an EQ to EQ all of them together, I could do that there, or I could put a compressor on there if I needed to compress all of these melodies together. Maybe I put a vinyl distortion on here, so you have all kinds of free range to attack it as one sound versus having to put all those effects on each one individually. So groups can be good in saving you from using a ton of plugins, and the things that you do add to them are going to mesh them together as one sound instead of each individual sound. So in my template here, I usually put all of my instruments together. I leave my kick and my 808 separate from everything, and then everything else goes in my drum rack here. One thing I do on my drums is I put an EQ on them and I raise the highs a lot. So that's one thing you could do if you want to compress your drums. You can compress them on the drum group there. So those are some of the reasons why you would use groups in your tracks. It's nice to put things together that are meant to be together. Let's say you have a bunch of different vocals that are in here, and maybe you have like 4 or 5 different vocal takes. You could put all the vocals in one vocal group and then just put all the effects on the vocal group instead of having to pile like 8 of them on each individual track. Okay, now we're going to talk about send and return tracks. So return tracks are these things over here, and if you want to make another one, you can just say insert return track. Now we have this return track C here. And what you can do is you can send things to the return track. So let's say, for instance, I wanted to send my snare to the return track C. So what I would do here is turn this up. This is pretty much like a dry wet knot. So let's say I put like a reverb on here. Let's just do this really quick. Okay, so now I have a reverb on this track here. So now anything that I send there will have that reverb on it. So let's say I send my snare all the way to the reverb track and then we solo this. You're just hearing the reverb from that track, but you're also hearing the snare as well. So this acts like a second layer. So if we turn this all the way down, you're still going to hear the snare. And if we turn it up. So it's a way to add some, you can add different effects as a new layer on top of that layer. So this is how you could do like some parallel compression with your drums and things like that. So this can also be very useful. Let's say you wanted this to just be your reverb track. So this is our reverb track now. So anything that we want to have reverb on, I'd probably do a tiny bit of the snare. Maybe I do a little bit of the hi-hats. So acting as if this is a dry or wet guide here. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to turn them all the way up since they're not coming through as loud. So we're going to give everything 100% here. There we go. So there's all of our drums. And then now you can control how loud this is. So we can mix it into the rest of the track now. So you can mix in different effects doing it that way, and that saves you from having to put a reverb on each one of these tracks and then like having to balance the dry or wet. You can send it all here and it saves a lot of CPU and things that way. So the sends and returns that I have on my template are pre-master, a lead, and drum. So I'm going to put all my instruments are going to go to this channel so I can turn it on and off. And if there's any effects that I want to put on them, I can put them on here. I have my drums separated out as well. So I could turn everything off doing it this way. And one reason why the pre-master is nice, besides having another routing before the master, is because if you're trying to like A-B a track, you don't want to put like a clipper, you don't want to put any mastering plugins on like an A-B track. So instead of sending it directly to the master, you could send the AB track to the master, and then you could have your track on the pre-master and vice versa, and you could deal with it that way so that you're not adding a mastering effect onto an already mastered song. So some things to keep in mind are, if you're sending things to one of these tracks, you can see I have all of my different melodies are in a lead thing right here, and the lead is actually what's going to be, which is the lead here. So I have it going 100% there, but I have this on sends only. So because it's on sends only, it's not going to play by itself and on the track as well. Because if I did it like this, it would play twice. So if I turn this off, you'd still hear the melody. But since I'm doing sends only, it's only going to send it there and it's not going to play anywhere else. So it's literally just making the return track this track. Alright guys, that's the tutorial on groups and send and return tracks. I hope that made sense. If not, you might want to go back one more time and rewatch it, because it can be a little bit tricky until it finally clicks for you. And you might just want to practice it in one of your projects as well, because it can help to be hands-on with it as well. But anyways, if you liked the video, smash that like button and subscribe to the channel if you're new here, because we're uploading daily videos and you're not going to want to miss out on them. But besides that, I'll be talking to you guys again in the next one. Peace out.